If that thought sends a chill down your spine, you're not alone. Many of us seniors fear losing our independence even more than we fear death itself. Every year of life after 70 is precious, a gift to be cherished. These are the years when a morning cup of coffee in your own kitchen or an afternoon with your grandkids on your couch feel like little treasures. You worked hard all your life for comfort and freedom. The idea of someone uprooting you to a strange place, even if they call it for your own good, can be frightening. I want to talk to you today about 7 signs that your kids may be planning to move you into a nursing home and how to make sure it doesn't happen if that's not what you want. My tone today will be calm, caring, and wise. Just one friend who's been around the block, talking to another. We're going to go through each sign one by one. For each, I'll explain what it is in plain language. No confusing medical talk here. I'll also share a little story for each sign, stories about folks like you and me, because sometimes it's easier to understand through someone else's experience. And importantly, we'll talk about how each sign can affect your health, your dignity, or your quality of life, and what you can do about it. Before we dive in, let me say this. Your desire to live life on your own terms is valid. In fact, surveys show more than 75% of adults over 50 want to remain in their own homes as they age. That's most of us. We prefer familiar comfort of home over the unknowns of facility. Nursing homes and assisted living facilities have their place for those who truly need constant medical care, and many provide good care, but they are not where most of us envision our golden years. You have a right to be a part of any decision about your life. After all, it is your life. So, let's empower you with knowledge. Pay attention as we go through these signs. You might recognize 1 or 2 happening in your family. If you do, don't panic. We'll also talk about what you can do in response. The goal is to keep you in control of your life and choices. As we like to say, don't let it happen if it's not what you want. All right, take a comfortable seat, maybe a cup of tea, and let's start with the very first sign to watch out for. Sign 1. Constant worry about your safety. Do your children seem constantly worried about your safety at home? Are they repeatedly bringing up every little stumble or mistake you make? This is our first sign. It might look like this. Every phone call or visit your son or daughter says, "Are you sure you're okay alone, Mom?" Or, "Dad, you know you left the stove on again. This is really dangerous." Their voices are full of concern, which is understandable, but it's constant, and it makes you feel like they're waiting for something bad to happen. Story, Nancy's experience. Let me introduce you to Nancy. She's 82 and lives by herself, and her daughter, Carol, calls her every day. Lately, Carol's calls have changed in tone. Instead of chatting about family or the weather, Carol zeroes in on Nancy's safety. "Mom, did you remember to take your pills this morning? Are you sure you turned the heater off? You know how you felt last month. What if I hadn't been there?" Nancy hears this every single day. One afternoon, Carol shows up unannounced and installs a bunch of new handrails in the hallway and bathroom. She means well, but that night Nancy sat in her favorite chair feeling unsettled. Why is Carol suddenly acting like I'm helpless, she thought. Nancy begins to suspect that Carol's constant worry might mean Carol doesn't think Nancy can live safely at home anymore. Explanation. When adult children fixate on safety issues all the time, it can indeed be a warning sign. Perhaps you had a minor fall, or you sometimes forget a pan on the stove for a minute. Those things can happen to anyone, but your kids seem to treat them as red alerts. They might constantly remind you of your age and vulnerabilities. At your age, Mom, you shouldn't be climbing ladders. Maybe you shouldn't cook without someone around. It can feel invasive, like they're policing your daily life for hazards. In Carol's case, after Nancy's little fall, Carol went into high alert. She started noticing every small risk in Nancy's house and would not let it go. Now, let's be fair. Your children worry because they love you. And it's true that as we get older, certain risks increase. For example, older adults do have a higher chance of falls or injuries. That's a real fact. In truth, if a senior is falling regularly, families often conclude that some extra help or supervision is needed. But there's a big difference between sensible safety precautions and constant, overbearing worry. When the worry becomes constant, your kids might already be thinking, maybe mom would be safer with 24/7 care, maybe in a nursing home. It might not be spoken out loud yet, but the subtext is there. How it affects you. Being on the receiving end of constant safety lectures can wear you down. Like Nancy, you might start doubting yourself. Am I truly that unsafe alone? Am I one fall away from losing my home? This kind of stress isn't good for your health. It can raise your anxiety and blood pressure. It also chips away at your dignity. You start feeling like a child who's being scolded or supervised, rather than an adult who's managed their own life for decades. Nancy told me that after weeks of Carol's relentless safety talks, she felt afraid to do simple things like take a walk to mailbox, because if she mentioned it, Carol might say, "Oh no, you shouldn't do that by yourself." Imagine that, a short walk on your own street, becoming a forbidden act. It's frustrating and discouraging. Moreover, stress and anxiety from constantly being told you're in danger can actually make you less steady. If you're nervous, you might indeed stumble more. It's a bit of a vicious cycle. Your confidence wavers. And when confidence wavers, our balance and clarity can waver too. What you can do, if you notice a sign, your kid's constantly harping on your safety, it's time to have a calm talk. Reassure them that you understand their concern. Give them specific facts about how you manage. I wear my emergency alert pendant in case I fall, and I've taken steps to be safe, like removing loose rugs. Show them you're being proactive. Perhaps even involve a doctor's opinion if you're healthy for your age. Sometimes hearing from a professional that mom is doing fine living at home can ease their minds. You might also ask them directly, "I notice you worry a lot about me getting hurt. Are you thinking I shouldn't live here anymore?" Getting it into the open can be scary, but it also lets you address it before they make plans without you. The key point about this first sign is, if their worry feels constant and exaggerated, it could mean they're losing confidence in your ability to live independently. Recognizing this early is important so you can remind them and yourself that you are still capable and that with a few adjustments you can continue safely at home. Remember Nancy? She decided to show Carol that she could improve safety without moving. She took a balanced exercise class and had a medical alert system installed. Over time, Carol eased up a little, seeing her mom take initiative. Nancy's independence was preserved. Let's move on to the next sign, which often goes hand in hand with the safety talks. Sign 2. Encouraging you to downsize or move. Another sign is when your children start encouraging you to downsize or move out of your longtime home. This can be subtle or direct. Maybe they suggest, "This house is a lot to maintain. Maybe you'd be happier in a smaller place, Mom." Or they say, "Have you thought about moving closer to me or into a condo with an elevator?" On the surface, it might sound like they're concerned about convenience or saving you effort. But often, this is the early phase of nudging you out of your home, possibly toward an assisted living or nursing facility down the line. Story: Tom's situation. Tom is a 74-year-old widower living in the big family home where he raised his kids. Lately, his son Michael has been dropping comments about the house. "Dad, this place is going to be too much for you. 4 bedrooms and all these stairs, wouldn't it be easier to live somewhere smaller? Maybe an apartment or a senior community where they take care of everything." At first, Tom appreciated the concern and joked, "You might be right, but I love the old place." Then one day, Tom found a brochure on his coffee table for a 55-plus retirement community nearby. He realized Michael must have left it there during his visit. The brochure showed smiling seniors and said, "Maintenance-free living." Tom's heart sank. Why is he showing me this? A week later, Michael outright suggested they go look at an apartment together just to see. Tom started to feel that familiar knot of worry. Is my own son preparing to push me out of my home? Explanation: when your kids begin to romanticize the idea of you living somewhere more manageable, it could be a clue that they're envisioning a future where you're not in your current home. It might not always mean a nursing home immediately. Sometimes they truly think a smaller house or moving in with them might be good. But be alert. If you haven't expressed a desire to move, where is this idea coming from? Often, It stems from their concerns, legitimate or not, about your ability to maintain the home or about safety, like stairs and big yards. It can also come from their own convenience. Maybe it's hard for them to visit or maintain your house from afar, so they figure a facility or a downsized place will be easier on everyone. In Tom's case, Michael likely believed he was being helpful. He might have thought, Dad will eventually need a move, so let's start now while he's healthy and can choose. But Tom wasn't interested in moving. He was managing fine with a little hired help for the yard. The sudden push to downsize felt to Tom like a clear sign. My son thinks I shouldn't live here anymore. And indeed, often the next step after downsize to a condo is, why not an assisted living apartment where help is on site? How it affects you. Your home is full of memories. It's your comfort zone. Being encouraged to leave it when you don't want can be deeply upsetting. It can affect your mental and emotional well-being. Seniors often feel a loss of identity when forced to move out of a long-time home. It's not just a house. It's your independence, your familiarity. If someone tries to take that away prematurely, you might experience anxiety, sadness, even depression. Tom, for example, started losing sleep after those conversations. He would wander his quiet house at night, touching the family photos on the wall, worrying, will I have to give all this up? That kind of stress can have physical effects too. Fatigue, loss of appetite, higher blood pressure, because your home is tied to your sense of security. There's also a dignity aspect. Being pressured to move can make you feel like a burden. You might think, do they just want to get rid of my problem, the house or me? It's a harsh feeling, even if your kids don't mean it that way. Tom certainly felt a bit like he was being handled rather than heard. What you can do, communication is key here. If you face this sign, express your feelings clearly. You might say, I know you mean well suggesting I move, but I love my home. It keeps me happy and connected to my past. I'm not ready to leave it. You can acknowledge the concerns. Yes, the stairs are a bit of work, but I take them slow and I'm doing okay. I can also hire someone to help with cleaning or yard work. That's still cheaper and happier for me than moving. Offer solutions that allow you to stay. Maybe installing stair lifts or modifying the house, for example, putting a bedroom on the ground floor. Show them you've thought about the future. If I ever truly can't live here safely, we'll deal with it then, but that time isn't now. Sometimes children worry about you being isolated in a big house. If that's the case, make efforts to stay socially active and let them see it. Invite friends over so they know you aren't lonely, or join local senior activities and tell them about it. That might reduce their push by addressing the root concern, which might be loneliness or maintenance, not the house per se. If the push continues, be firm. You have the right to decide where you live. Remember, legally no one can force you to sell your home or move to a facility if you're of sound mind and able to make decisions. We'll talk more about legal rights later, but keep that in mind for peace of mind. For Tom, after he found that brochure, he sat Michael down and said, Son, I know you want the best for me, but I will tell you when I'm ready to move. This house means a lot to me. I feel healthy and capable here. Let's hold off on any tours or brochures, okay? It was a tough conversation, and Michael was a bit surprised, but it cleared the air. Michael admitted he was worried about how Tom would manage in a few years. Tom suggested, how about we make a plan that if I need help, we'll bring help here, rather than me moving there? That compromise reassured Michael for the time being, and Tom got to stay in his beloved home. All right. Now let's go into sign 3, which can be an even more direct hint from your kids. Sign 3, showing you nursing homes, tours, and brochures. This sign is pretty direct. Your children start introducing the idea of nursing homes or assisted living facilities to you through brochures, websites, or even scheduling tours. In sign 2, we saw a brochure sneak in. Sign 3 takes it further. It's when your kids say, Mom, why don't we visit that new senior living place one day? Just to look around. Or they leave pamphlets and flyers lying around about the Sunny Acres Retirement Community, resort-style living for seniors. They might email you links to assisted living facilities or share stories about a friend's parent who moved to one and loves it. Story, Alice's preview. Alice is 78 and very active. She still drives her knitting club, and does her own shopping. Her son, David, lives in another state, but visits monthly. On one visit, David said, "Mom, there's a new senior living community that opened just 10 minutes from my house. They have an open house this Saturday. What do you say we go have a look? It could be fun to see what it's like." Alice felt uneasy immediately. Why would we do that? She wondered. She replied, "I'm not really interested in that kind of place, honey." David laughed it off. "Oh, I know. No one wants to go to those places, but this one is really nice. Just humor me." During the visit, Alice was polite, but quiet. The facility was clean and the staff friendly, but Alice's heart was pounding. She saw residents in wheelchairs lining the hallway and thought, "I don't belong here." After the tour, David kept saying how impressed he was with the amenities. A week later, Alice received a glossy brochure in the mail. David had asked the place to send her information. Alice broke down in tears that night, realizing David was seriously considering this for her future. Explanation. When your kids actively start showing you what a nursing home or assisted living looks like, it's often because they're trying to acclimate you and themselves to the idea. In their minds, they might be thinking, it's inevitable, so let's not make it scary. Let's present it positively. They may hope you'll see a nice cafeteria or a game room and think, maybe this isn't so bad. It's a selling job, really. Sometimes it's subtle. Leaving a brochure on your coffee table, like happened to Tom, or the one David mailed to Alice. Other times it's more forceful, actually taking you on a tour or to a free lunch for seniors event at a local facility. They might even phrase it as a treat. They're having a holiday choir at the assisted living place. Let's go enjoy the music, which also doubles as a look-around opportunity. If you find yourself being directed to look at these places without you asking, that's a strong sign they are past the just worrying stage and into the looking at options stage. They may not say, "We want you to move here," but actions speak loudly. David, for example, never said to Alice outright, "I think you should move here," but his persistent tours and brochures delivered the message for him. How it affects you. Being confronted with the prospect of living in a nursing home when you haven't chosen it can be emotionally overwhelming. Alice described it as an out-of-body experience walking those halls. She felt fear, sadness, even a bit of anger. She later told a friend, "It was like my son was measuring me for a shoe I don't want to wear." Seeing other seniors in various states of health in that environment can make you anxious about your own future. It can also feel demeaning if done insensitively, like you're a passive object being marketed to. Your trust in your children can take a hit too. Alice wondered, why is David in such a rush? Does he see me as a burden? That doubt can cause strain in your relationship and weigh on your mind day and night. If you start believing they've already decided to put me there eventually, it can lead to hopelessness or depression. You might even start distancing yourself, thinking, what's the point of planning my own life if they'll override me? Another effect is that it might sow seeds of doubt. Maybe you never considered a nursing home at all, but now you find yourself picturing it and worrying if you'll end up there. That mental stress is not good for your health or peace of mind. What you can do: first, assert your feelings clearly. If they take you on a tour or send brochures, speak up. You could say, "I appreciate you showing me what's out there, but I need you to know I have no interest in moving to a nursing home or senior community at this time." It's okay to be firm. Sometimes adult children assume that if you didn't object strongly, you might be open to it. So be unequivocal if you feel strongly. Alice, for example, after that mail, called David and said, "Son, I know you meant well, but I felt very upset by that tour. I am happy at home. That place was nice for people who need it, but I don't. I left feeling like you don't think I can manage my life. That hurts." She said it in a calm but earnest way. David was a bit taken aback. He hadn't realized how deeply it affected her. Second, ask them questions to get to the bottom of their concerns. What is it that worries you about me staying at home? Is it something specific? Maybe they'll say they worry about you being alone at night, or that you'll have no one nearby if you get sick. These concerns might be addressed with solutions other than moving. For instance, a medical alert system, regular check-ins, or hiring a part-time caregiver or companion to drop by in your home. Emphasize that those alternatives exist. If finances are a factor, Some kids worry that maintaining a home or paying for in-home help is too expensive. Remind them that nursing homes are extremely costly too, often more so. A private room in a nursing home can cost over $8,000 a month in the U.S., depending on location. Many seniors and families actually find aging at home with some paid help is cheaper than a facility. If you have the resources or plans for your own care, gently make that point. I've saved for my retirement and any care I need, and I'd rather spend on help here home than on a place I don't want to be. Also, involve someone else if needed. Sometimes an outside voice, like a family friend or a pastor or doctor, can tell your kids, "Hey, your mom is doing fine at home." There's no need to rush into a facility. Those should be for when someone really can't manage. Hearing it from someone beside you can carry weight, because kids can dismiss their parent objections as denial. But if a professional or a trusted friend says she's okay, they might reconsider their approach. For example, Alice invited her son to accompany her to her next doctor's appointment, since he was so worried. During the appointment, Alice openly mentioned, "My son took me to see a senior home, and I'm not interested in that. Doctor, can you share your perspective on my ability to live independently?" The doctor replied that Alice was in great health for 78, and there was no medical reason she couldn't live alone with some basic precautions. That reassured David that his urge to move her was perhaps premature. The bottom line here, if your kids are already taking you to see nursing homes or giving you brochures, the train has left the station in their mind. It's time to pull the emergency brake by clearly voicing your stance and addressing their concerns. Let them know you understand facilities might be nice, but nice doesn't mean it's right for me. You have to reframe their thinking from "mom needs this environment" to "mom can be safe and happy where she is," with a few adjustments. This can be an emotional battle, but stand firm and enlist allies if needed. Remember, don't sign anything or agree to anything on those tours if you're not sure. Sometimes they'll hand you forms or ask you to join a wait list. You absolutely don't have to do that if you don't want. Take your time and don't let anyone rush your decision. Now, on to sign 4, which is about what might be happening behind your back rather than to your face. Sign 4. Secret conversations about your future. This one can be painful. You suspect or find out that your children are having secret conversations or making plans about your living situation without including you. This sign often comes to light accidentally. Maybe you overhear a hush phone call, or a neighbor mentions, "Your son was asking me about good nursing homes in the area." Or you find an email left open on the computer about assisted living options. The key here is that these discussions are happening without your input, behind closed doors. Story: Frank's discovery. Frank is 80, a retired teacher living with moderate health issues, a bit of arthritis, and uses a cane but mentally sharp. He has 3 adult children. One evening, Frank was dozing in his armchair when he woke up to the sound of his son, Jim, talking on the phone in the next room. They probably assumed he was fast asleep. Frank heard Jim say, "Yeah, I looked at Green Valley Nursing Center. I think it could be an option if Dad falls again or something. We might have to make the decision for him." Frank's heart started pounding. He kept listening quietly. Jim was talking to his sister, apparently. "No, don't bring it up to him yet. Let's discuss it with the doctor first and see what he says." Frank felt a wave of betrayal and fear. His own kids were making plans to put him somewhere, and they didn't even want to tell him until they had it all figured out. Later, when confronted, his children admitted they had a group chat discussing future plans because they didn't want to upset him until they had a concrete solution. Explanation: this sign is a strong indicator that your kids are past merely worrying. They are now actively planning. The fact that they're doing it secretly might come from a place of trying to spare your feelings, or it could be because they know you might resist. Either way, it undermines your autonomy. If decisions are being plotted without you, that's not respectful or transparent. It can start small, maybe siblings whispering in the kitchen after a holiday dinner, or one of them talking to your doctor privately about your abilities. Sometimes you might notice that when you bring up future plans, they exchange glances with each other or speak in vague terms, which give you a gut feeling that a lot more discussion has happened when you weren't around. Frank's case is a classic one. Siblings discussing among themselves and even involving the doctor without including Frank. Another example. A mother named Maria told me she found a notebook in her daughter's bag with a list of nursing homes and costs. Her daughter was researching and budgeting without telling her. These things happen more often than we like. How it affects you, discovering secret plans, can be devastating. It erodes trust. You might feel betrayed, angry, or powerless. Frank described it as, "They treated me like a child or a senile old man who doesn't get a say. I've never felt so hurt." Such emotions can cause rifts in the family, making communication even harder. It can also lead to paranoia. You might start second-guessing everything your kids say or do, wondering if there's an ulterior motive. That's a terrible position to be in because, ideally, family should be where you feel safest. From a health perspective, the stress and anxiety from this kind of family conflict can have real effects: loss of sleep, depression, or even physical symptoms like headaches or elevated blood pressure. Feeling like important decisions about you are being made without you can create a constant background worry that's hard to shake. There's also the emotional impact on your dignity. Everyone wants to be respected as the author of their own life story. When you find out others are writing chapters for you in secret, it's humiliating. It's as if they've already put you in the category of unable to understand or not worth consulting. That can hurt your self-esteem deeply. What you can do: the first step is to bring these conversations into the open. It might be uncomfortable, but it's necessary. If you overhear something or find evidence, don't stew in silence. Address it. Calmly say something like, "I've got the feeling you all have been talking about my future living arrangements without me. I understand these conversations can be hard, but I need to be part of them. I deserve to be included." Try not to accuse harshly. Sometimes kids truly think they're protecting you by not telling you, but make it clear that being excluded hurt you. In Frank's case, the next morning he told his kids, "I heard you talking about nursing homes last night. I was shocked and honestly hurt that you'd keep that from me." His kids were initially defensive. "We didn't want to worry you, Dad." But he pressed on, "I know you worry, but imagine how I feel hearing it that way. If you're concerned, I want us to discuss it together, openly. I have a say in my life." This frank conversation led to some apologies and, more importantly, a more transparent dialogue. Request a family meeting if needed. Sit everyone down. You can even invite a neutral party, like a family counselor or mediator, if you fear the discussion will get heated or if trust is low. State your wishes clearly. "I want to remain at home as long as it's safe. Let's talk about what safe means and what we can do to keep it that way, rather than jumping to moving me out." Listen to their worries too, but insist that nothing about you will be decided without you. It might help to have some of your own research or plan. For example, if my health gets worse, I prefer in-home care. Here are some agencies or options I consider. I do not want to go to a nursing home unless it's absolutely the only choice. Can we all agree to honor that? By showing that you have thought about the future and have your own ideas, you take back some control of the narrative. It reminds them that you are still capable of planning and making decisions. If you suspect that they're involving doctors or others in secret, you might want to have a direct conversation with those professionals as well. For instance, Frank went to his doctor and said, "If my kids ask about putting me in a nursing home, I want you to know my stance. I prefer alternatives." The doctor understood and later helped reassure the kids that there were other ways to support Frank without immediate institutionalization. It's worth noting, sometimes children think a parent can't handle these talks. Prove them wrong by handling it. Stay calm. Stick to facts and feelings. If you get very angry or emotional, they might see it as confirmation that, "See, this is why we didn't tell you." Practice what you want to say if needed, or write it down and read it out. The fact that you're taking initiative will itself be a sign to them that you're still the decision maker in your life. The core of Sign 4 is about maintaining open communication. Sunlight is the best disinfectant, as they say. Once everything is in the open, you can work as a family with you, not around you, to ensure your well-being. And if your children refuse to include you even after you ask, well, that's a serious issue. You might need to seek outside help, like legal advice or counseling, because excluding a competent adult from their own life decisions is not acceptable. We'll touch more on legal empowerment in the next Signs. Speaking of which, let's look at sign 5, which is about your kids taking charge of things that used to be your domain. Sign 5, taking over your tasks and decisions. Sign 5 is when your children start taking over tasks or decisions in your daily life without your request, essentially overstepping into things you can still handle. You might notice they've started making doctor's appointments for you without asking, or they show up and organize your kitchen because they think you can't manage it. Perhaps they take your car keys and say, "I don't want you driving anymore," even though you still feel comfortable driving short distances. They might even begin managing your finances, paying your bills, monitoring your bank statements. Despite you being perfectly capable, this helicopter-type behavior can be a sign that they're preparing for you to be dependent, as you'll be in a nursing home where staff handle all these things. Story: Martha's loss of control. Martha is 79 and very sharp mentally, though her arthritis makes some physical chores harder. She's always prided herself on keeping track of her bills and medications meticulously. Over the past few months, her son Alex has stepped in ways she didn't expect. It started when he visited and saw a late electricity bill on her table. Martha had simply forgotten to mail on time. Concerned, Alex took it upon himself to set up automatic bill pay from Martha's account. Martha appreciated the help initially, but then Alex started doing more. He ordered groceries to be delivered to her house without asking what she wanted, because he assumed she'd forget heavy items. He began showing up unannounced to check her pill box and refill it for the week. One day, Martha went to pick up a prescription only to find Alex had already picked it up for her. She found herself out of the loop on her own life. The breaking point was when Martha's phone stopped working. Unbeknownst to her, Alex had switched her cell plan to a senior plan and gotten her a new phone to simplify things. Martha felt angry and small. Alex was treating her as if she couldn't make any decisions. She realized with a sinking feeling that he was getting used to running her life, much like staff would in a managed care facility. Explanation: this behavior often comes from a loving place. Adult children think they're helping. They see a parent struggling a bit or making a small mistake, like a late bill, and they jump in to fix it, and then they keep expanding their control. While help is great when you need it, the red flag here is help that you did not ask for and that you still don't truly need. If you notice your independence being stripped away task by task, be careful. Your kids will be intentionally or unintentionally training you in themselves for a scenario where you're no longer in charge. It's almost a rehearsal for nursing home life, where you wouldn't handle bills, wouldn't drive, wouldn't cook, because others do everything. Another element is that by taking over, they might think they're preventing accidents, like if I manage mom's meds, she won't make a mistake. But they might also be accelerating your dependence. Sometimes adult children do this because it gives them a sense of control over a situation that scares them. Aging is scary for them too, and controlling things is a coping mechanism. However, the outcome for you can be negative if it's beyond what you really need. How it affects you. Having your tasks and decisions taken away when you're still capable of doing them is highly frustrating. It can also erode your confidence quickly. There's a saying, use it or lose it. This applies to both physical and mental abilities. If your son always fills your pill box, you might start doubting if you took your meds correctly. If your daughter always handles the finances, you might lose practice and feel confused about money matters over time. In a sense, this kind of hovering can make you dependent sooner than you would have been, which ironically may then become a self-fulfilling reason to move you to a nursing home. Emotionally, it can make you feel infantilized, like you're being treated as a child, not an adult. That can lead to resentment or depression. Many older adults feel embarrassed when their children overmanage them, especially in front of others. Martha, for instance, felt humiliated when she realized her son had taken her prescription from a pharmacy. It was as if the pharmacy staff thought she was unable to pick it up herself. She found herself apologizing. "Sorry, my son got it for me," which made her feel even more like a child. There's evidence that loss of independence can harm seniors' mental health. Studies have shown that when older adults lose control over their daily lives, it can lead to depression and anxiety. Being too controlled can also cause you to withdraw. If Martha thinks any time she does something Alex will swoop in, she might just stop trying, which could lead to decline in her abilities. It's a dangerous spiral. From a dignity standpoint, our right to make our own choices, even small ones like what to eat or what to buy, is a core part of our identity. When someone encroaches on that without cause, it feels like a violation, even if done with love. And if this goes on, you might end up feeling like a guest in your own life, waiting for others to decide things for you. That's very similar to how life can feel in an institution, which is why it's a warning sign that your kids may already be mentally placing you in that role of dependent person. What you can do, it's time to set some boundaries. This can be tough if you appreciate some of the help. You don't want to seem ungrateful, but you might say something like, "Alex, I know you want to help and I love you for it, but I feel like I'm losing track of my own life. Please let me handle the things I can handle. If I need help, I promise I will ask." Be specific. "I want to manage my own medications and bills because I am capable. It makes me feel good about myself. If I slip up or truly need a hand, I will let you know. Until then, I need you to step back a bit." Show them evidence of your competence. Perhaps demonstrate that you have a system or that the one bill was a one-time mistake. You could even involve a third party, like a financial advisor or a nurse, to reassure them. Your mom is doing a great job organizing her medications, or her bank statements are all in order. Sometimes kids need to hear that from someone other than you if they've convinced themselves otherwise. Cite your feelings too. For example, "When you reorder my groceries without asking, I feel like I'm not even trusted to choose my own food." That's hurtful. Make it clear that their actions, while well-intended, have negative consequences on your well-being. You might even share some research with them. For instance, that independence is a cornerstone of healthy aging, and losing it can actually reduce quality of life. Let them know that constantly taking over can erode your confidence and happiness. Sometimes adult children don't realize this. They think any help equals good. They need a reminder that balance is important. If the tasks they're taking over truly have become challenging, consider compromises that still keep you in control. For instance, if writing checks is hard due to arthritis, you could allow automatic bill pay, like Martha did initially, but still review the statements yourself so you remain informed. Or if driving is getting tricky at night, you set the rule, "I won't drive after dark, but I'm fine during daytime, so please let me handle that." Also, technology can help maintain independence. Maybe you use a pill reminder app rather than your child physically coming to do the pills. Show them you can adopt these solutions. It builds their confidence in you. Martha ended up telling Alex to stop surprise managing her life. She took back control of her phone and finances. She did appreciate grocery help for heavy items, but she made it a rule that they would make the list together, so her preferences were respected. This restored her sense of control. Sometimes, it might be necessary to involve a mediator if a child just won't stop overstepping. A geriatric care manager or counselor can sit everyone down and outline what kind of help is appropriate and what isn't, based on your actual needs, not imagined ones. Remember, it's your life. Accepting help when needed is wise. Surrendering control when you're still capable is not. By pushing back on this overreach, you're not just protecting your present independence. You're also signaling to your kids that you are not ready to be in that passive role they might be unconsciously casting you in. All right, let's move to sign 6, which is a bit different. It's about what your kids say regarding their ability to care for you. IGN 6. They say they're overwhelmed. Caregiver burnout. Sign 6 is when your children express openly that caring for you or helping you is overwhelming them. You might hear things like, "I just can't keep doing this, Mom. I have my own kids and job." Or, "I'm exhausted. Dad, I spend so much time worrying about you." They may not directly say, "We want to put you in a home," but they hint that the current situation isn't sustainable for them. They might even guilt trip unintentionally by saying, "I have no life because I'm always taking care of you." These comments are signs that they're considering alternatives, possibly hiring outside help or moving you somewhere that can relieve them of the day-to-day responsibilities. Story: Linda's caregiving son. Linda is 85 and lives with her son, Mark, who is 60. Mark moved in with her after her mild stroke to help out. At first, it was fine. Linda recovered well and could do most things, but she didn't feel safe living completely alone. Over time, Mark found himself doing more chores around the house and driving Linda to appointments. One evening, after helping his mom to bed, just as part of routine, not because she was very sick. Mark sighed and said, "I'm so tired, Mom. I barely have any time for myself these days." Linda felt bad and said she's grateful for him. Mark responded, "I always take care of you, but I'm burning out. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up." Linda went to bed with a heavy heart. The next week, Linda overheard Mark telling a friend on the phone, "I might have to look into a nursing home for Mom. I can't do this alone." Linda realized that Mark's exhaustion was pushing him to consider moving her somewhere with full-time care to relieve him. Explanation: caregiver burnout is very real. Many adult children juggle jobs, their own families, and caring for an elderly parent. It can indeed become overwhelming. In fact, roughly 4 in 10 family caregivers say their situation is highly stressful. When they start voicing their exhaustion or resentment, they are likely contemplating a change. That change could be hiring a professional caregiver, but if they feel that's not enough or not affordable, they might consider a nursing home as a solution. Because in their mind, that's where professionals handle the care, not them. It's important to note, when a child says, "I can't keep doing this," it doesn't necessarily mean they don't love you or want to abandon you. Often it's a cry for help. But from your perspective, it's definitely a sign that they might be looking into options that take the load off them, which can include moving you out of a home environment that requires their support. How it affects you. Hearing your child say they're overwhelmed or unhappy caring for you is heartbreaking. No parent wants to be a burden. It can stir up guilt, shame, and fear. Linda, for example, started feeling guilty every time she asked Mark for anything, even small favors. She also felt panic. If he can't do this anymore, what will happen to me? It's a heavy emotional burden to know your needs are straining your loved one. Many seniors in this situation even start wishing to need less or do more than they physically can just to not cause trouble. That kind of stress can lead to depression or a sense of hopelessness. There's also a risk to your quality of life. If your caregiver child is burned out, they might become irritable or less patient, which can make daily life tense. Or they might start withdrawing, not spending as much cheerful time with you, which can make you feel lonely or neglected even though they're right there. The dynamic can shift from loving to transactional, just tasks and size, which affects both of you deeply. And of course, if they're indeed thinking about a nursing home, you may start getting anxious about that future. Some older folks even consider drastic things like refusing help or try to manage everything alone to relieve their child, which can put them at risk of injury or health decline. It's a precarious position to be in. What you can do. This sign calls for a compassionate and honest conversation. First, acknowledge their feelings. Something like, "Mark, I heard what you said. I had a feeling you were getting burned out. I'm so sorry my care has become so hard on you." Let them know you appreciate everything they've done. Sometimes caregivers keep pushing themselves without feeling appreciated, which fuels resentment. A heartfelt thank you and acknowledgement can soften the atmosphere and make constructive talk easier. Second, discuss alternatives together. If your child is overwhelmed, it doesn't automatically mean the solution is a nursing home. Brainstorm with them. Could we hire a part-time nurse or aide? Could other family members pitch in more? Are there adult day care programs where you go for activities and care during the day and come home at night to give the caregiver breaks? Perhaps there are respite care services that can occasionally take over for a weekend so the caregiver can rest. Many communities have resources. Maybe they haven't been fully explored. You might also consider technology can help, alarm systems, medication dispensers, meal services, to reduce the burden on your child. Additionally, have an honest look at what you can do for yourself safely that maybe you've been letting them do out of convenience. If possible, taking back a task or two can lighten their load and also restore some of your independence, tying back to sign 5. For example, if you're able to dress yourself or make a sandwich, but they've been do it for speed, say you want to do it on your own again. Emotional support for the caregiver is key too. Encourage them to join a caregiver support group. Many exist, even online. When Mark expressed being burnt out, Linda suggested he talk to a counselor or support group for people caring for elderly family. He did, and he found out that his feelings were common and that there were ways to get help and set boundaries without moving mom out. Crucially, speak about the nursing home concern openly. I know you've thought about a nursing home as one solution. I understand why. It seems like it would take the pressure off you. But that idea makes me very upset because it's not how I want to live if there are other options. Can we agree to try other solutions first? You can propose a trial period. Let's try getting an aide 3 times a week for a couple months and see if that helps you feel less overwhelmed. If we still have a big problem, we'll talk again. Remind your child lovingly that you want them to have a life too, because that's true. The goal is for both of you to have a good quality of life. This isn't about you versus them. It's about finding a sustainable way forward. When they see you care about their well-being, which you do, it can reduce any guilt or anger in them, and you become a team looking for solutions rather than adversaries. Also, sometimes adult children feel alone in the responsibility. Are there siblings or other relatives who could share the load? Maybe your daughter can take you for groceries once a week to give your son a break, or a grandchild can help with yard work. A frank family discussion might reveal willing helpers who just weren't asked. In Mark and Linda's case, after their talk, they decided to hire a home care aide for a few mornings a week to assist with chores and give Mark some free time. Mark also found that letting go of a bit of control and accepting outside help was hard at first, but ultimately it prevented him from heading toward a breaking point. Linda, in turn, tried to be more self-sufficient in small ways. She started using a walker instead of asking Mark for an arm around the house, and she practiced using the microwave to heat meals so Mark didn't always have to cook. These might seem like little things, but together they eased Mark's burden. And, importantly, they talked about things before any drastic decisions were made. So, if you hear those phrases like, "I can't keep doing this," don't ignore them. They are a clue and a cry that you both need to adjust something. Tackling it together can actually strengthen your bond and postpone or eliminate the need for a nursing home move. Finally, let's talk about sign 7, which involves legal and formal steps your kids might be taking. Sign 7, pressuring you into legal or care decisions. The 7th sign is when your children start pressuring you to make legal or formal care arrangements that would give them more control over your life or indicate a plan for nursing care. This could include urging you to sign a power of attorney, POA, that lets them make decisions on your behalf, or a guardianship/conservatorship, which is more extreme, basically taking away your rights to decide. They might also push you to sign admission papers for a nursing home, just in case of future, or to get on a wait list. Even repeated heavy discussions about your living will or advanced care plans, with focus on if you can't take care of yourself, can be a sign if it's coming out of nowhere or being done in a coercive way. Story: Elaine's papers. Elaine is a 72-year-old widow, very independent and healthy, still drives and volunteers. Her son, Rob, is a lawyer. One weekend, Rob visited and brought along a stack of documents. He insisted, "Mom, we need to get your papers in order. Here's a power of attorney form I think we should sign, so I can make financial and medical decisions for you if you ever can't. And this is an advanced care directive. We should specify what you want and maybe consider stating which nursing home you prefer if it comes to that." Elaine was taken aback. "Rob, I'm fine. Why now?" Rob mentioned the story of a friend whose mom suddenly fell ill and how chaotic it was without papers. Elaine understood planning is good, but she felt like this was very sudden and specific. The POA Rob drafted was durable, meaning it could be used even while she was still competent, not just as she became incapacitated, essentially giving him immediate authority. When she read it, she felt uneasy. Rob was a bit pushy. "Come on, it's just a precaution. You don't want the courts involved, do you? Just sign here and here." Elaine, fortunately, decided not to sign immediately and said she'd think about it. Driving home from that meeting, she thought, why is he in such a rush for this? It dawned on her that Rob might be anticipating making decisions for her, maybe even about moving her to care, and wanted the legal power to do so smoothly. Explanation: getting your legal affairs in order is actually a wise thing to do in general. We all should have advanced directives and consider powers of attorney. But the context and manner are important. If this push comes not from you but from your kids, And especially if they are insistent or you feel pressured, it could be because they foresee making decisions that you might not agree with later. Essentially, they might want the power of attorney or guardianship to be able to sign the nursing home admission papers, even if you resist, or to manage your finances to pay for it, etc. It could also be about control over your money or estate. In bad scenarios, adult kids might be eyeing assets, but let's assume goodwill yet misguided intentions here. If you sense that every conversation is now about, we need a plan for when you can't live at home, or let's choose a facility now so it's easier later, that's related. Even if they don't shove papers at you, constant talk of when you're in a nursing home someday against your protests is a sort of psychological pressure to accept that future. Another telltale situation. If they ask you to sign something you don't fully understand, or they get upset if you say you want to have a lawyer review it, that's a red flag. In Elaine's case, the durable POA would allow Rob to do things immediately. Some kids might do that thinking they'll help manage your stuff now, not just an emergency. How it affects you. This kind of pressure can feel like an ambush. It might make you suspicious of your kids' motives. Do they just want control? Are they after my money? Or do they truly think I'm on the brink of incapacity? It's frightening to think your own child might take away your decision-making. Some seniors comply out of trust or feeling obligated, and later find themselves sidelined. Signing over powers can have huge implications. If you give someone power of attorney, they might be able to sign a nursing home admission on your behalf. In many places, as long as you are mentally competent, you cannot be forced into a nursing home without your consent. But if a court declares you incompetent and grants guardianship to someone, then they can make that choice for you. So it's a serious matter. Being pressured to hand over control prematurely is essentially being asked to surrender some of your rights. That can cause anxiety and a feeling of helplessness. This sign can also strain your relationship heavily. It introduces a legal undertone to what should be a loving bond. You might feel you need to watch your back, which is sad and stressful. Elaine, for example, after that weekend, started wondering if she should get her own lawyer to protect her from her son's well-intentioned, but possibly overreaching plans. That's an emotionally painful place to be, feeling you need protection from your own family's decisions. What you can do, first and foremost, do not sign any legal document without understanding it fully and without feeling 100% comfortable. Ask for time to review and consult an independent attorney, not your kid who drafted it. If needed, a good child with nothing to hide will be fine with that. If they get upset or try to rush you, we need to do this now. Stand your ground. No, I will take my time. These are important decisions. Have an open talk about why they think these documents are needed now. You can say, I realize we should plan, but I feel like you're expecting me to decline soon. Is there a reason you think that? Maybe they have worries you can address. Or maybe they heard some misinformation about legal requirements. For example, they might think if you don't have a POA, they can't help you at all in an emergency. Actually, if you're still competent, you can make decisions as things come. If you become incompetent, yes, a POA or guardianship is needed. But that doesn't have to be rushed unless your health indicates it. You should have your own say in who holds power of attorney. It might be one of your children or someone else you trust. If you decide to do it, you can also put specific instructions in it, like stating your preference to remain at home if possible, or requiring 2 doctors to agree you're incapable before the POA is used, etc. You can limit powers or add conditions. A lawyer can help tailor it to protect your wishes. Communication-wise, tell them how the pressure makes you feel. When you push these forms on me, it makes me feel like you've already decided I can't manage my life. I am still perfectly capable and intend to be for a long time. Let's plan, but not in a way that takes control away from me today. If they're trying to get guardianship, which is rare unless you have advanced dementia or something, but it happens, know that it's a legal process involving the courts and you have a right to contest it. Guardianship is a last resort because it does remove a person's rights. Make it clear. I do not consent to any guardianship. If you feel I ever need that level of help, we need to involve neutral parties, and possibly a court will decide, but I will fight that if I believe I'm still capable. I prefer collaborative decision-making, not handing over my autonomy. In nicer terms, you could say, I want to plan with you, not just sign over things to you. Let's do this the right way together. Maybe schedule an appointment with an elder law attorney together, so everyone hears the same advice. An impartial professional can explain the pros and cons of POAs, living wills, etc., and ensure your voice is central in the documents. Also, review any papers thoroughly. For example, in Elaine's case, she eventually did sign a power of attorney, but she chose to make a springing POA, meaning it only goes into effect if she is medically deemed incapacitated. And she named both her son and her daughter jointly, so no one person could act without the other agreeing, adding a check and balance. That made her feel safer, that it wouldn't be misused preemptively. She also explicitly added to her advance directive that she wishes to remain at home with home care as long as feasible. To guide them, it's wise to have an advanced care plan, but ensure it reflects your values. If the conversation is heavily skewed to when you're in a nursing home, speak up. If I ever get that ill, I prefer in-home hospice or whatever. Please note, a nursing home is my last resort choice. Put that in writing if you want. It can be part of a living will or just a letter to your family. Finally, educate yourself about your rights in your jurisdiction. Often, seniors don't know that as long as they're competent, they can refuse a move. Knowing that can give you confidence to assert yourself. Also, if you fear an overzealous child might try something sneaky legally, having your own lawyer or confidant, maybe an unrelated executor or something, can be a safeguard. This sign is basically about ensuring you keep your decision-making power until there's a genuine reason to relinquish it. Don't be afraid to say no or not yet to legal changes that you feel are premature. You can still get documents in place in a way that you are comfortable with. And if your kids truly love you, they should accept that. Elaine did exactly that. She took control of the estate planning process and involved her kids, but on her terms. Rob realized he came on too strong and apologized. In the end, they all had peace of mind because plans were in place, but Elaine was still the captain of her ship, so to speak. Now that we've covered all 7 signs, let's move on to our conclusion, where we'll reflect on what these mean and how to move forward. Conclusion. We've journeyed through 7 signs, from constant safety fussing to hints about moving sneaky tours, secret talks, overstepping your daily life, burnout confessions, and even legal pressure. It's a lot to take in, I know. If you're still here with me, I want to thank you for listening and honoring yourself by learning about this. Now, let's take a deep breath together and reflect. Do any of these signs strike a chord with you? Maybe you recognize 1 or 2 happening in your own life. How did that make you feel? It's important to acknowledge those feelings, whether it's anger, fear, sadness, or even resolve to make a change. Every family and situation is different, but the common thread is respect and communication. You deserve to have a say in your life, and you deserve to be treated with dignity. Perhaps the biggest takeaway here is the importance of open dialogue. Many of the stories we discussed, Nancy, Tom, Alice, Frank, Martha, Linda, Elaine, all found some peace or solution by bringing things into the open. It might feel easier to avoid conflict and hope things will just work out, but silence can sometimes be taken as acceptance. By speaking up calmly and clearly, you can often stop an unwanted nursing home plan in its tracks and steer your family toward alternatives that honor your wishes. Another key point, plan early but plan together. Yes, set up your wills, powers of attorney, and care preferences, but do it in partnership, not by coercion. When your kids see you proactively planning for your own aging, like modifying a home for safety or maybe saving money for care services, it can reassure them that you're on top of things and they don't have to take drastic measures for you. It flips the script. You go from the potentially passive recipient of decisions to the active leader of your life, with them as your supportive team. I encourage you now to reflect in the comments. Did any of these signs resonate with your experience? Have you had conversations with your children about this? How did it go? By sharing, you might help another person out there who's feeling alone in the same situation. Maybe you found a creative solution to staying at home, or you successfully negotiated with your family. Tell us about it. Or, if you're currently struggling with these signs, Feel free to express what you're going through. Sometimes just voicing it is the first step to changing it. Remember, you are far from alone. In fact, most older adults want exactly what you want: to live life on their terms, in the place they call home. There are many of us who understand that. And guess what? Even many adult children, deep down, want to honor their parents' wishes. They might just be scared or misinformed. Maybe share this video with them as a gentle way to start a conversation. It could open their eyes to your perspective in a non-confrontational way. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a hopeful thought. Getting older doesn't mean losing control of your life. With honest communication, a bit of planning, and mutual understanding, it's absolutely possible to address your kids' concerns without ending up in a place you don't want to be. Compromises can be found. Safety can be improved at home. Help can be hired. Emotions can be managed with support. In the end, the goal for your family is the same: keeping you safe and happy. There's usually more than one way to achieve that, a way that respects your independence and their peace of mind. Thank you for spending this time with me. I truly hope you found this discussion informative, inspiring, or at least comforting. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more content about aging with dignity and living life fully as a senior. We talk about topics that matter to you, and we do it with heart. Don't forget to share this video with friends or family who might benefit from it. Maybe you know someone quietly worrying about this very issue. Sharing this could be a priceless help to them. Finally, as I always say, keep cherishing each day, stand up for yourself with kindness and wisdom, and continue to be the author of your own story. Your life is precious, and your choices matter. Take care, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.